Conflict-related sexual violence is an abhorrent crime that is used as a tactic of war for military, political, and economic reasons. It continues to be a feature of conflicts today, claiming thousands and thousands of victims every year. It is used to punish, terrorize, intimidate, control, and displace civilians, and in the process destroys the social fabric of communities. Because conflict-related sexual violence is one of the worst global protection challenges due to its scale, prevalence, and profound impact, the Security Council adopted Resolution 1820 in 2008, which recognized that the deliberate use of sexual violence as a tactic of war exacerbates armed conflict and hinders post-conflict reconstruction and reconciliation.
As the Special Representative of the Secretary-General on Sexual Violence and Conflict, I have been working to ensure that adequate recognition is given to rape as a crime, that all perpetrators, irrespective of their ranks and status, are held accountable, that victims receive proper medical and psychosocial support, that women are empowered economically and politically to lift the veil of vulnerability, and that national authorities provide the leadership and take ownership over the effort aimed at addressing conflict-related sexual violence in general, and rape in particular.
We are given a very noble mission by the Security Council. It is to save the people, to help them live under better conditions. It is to give them back a sense of hope. And of course, human rights, protection from violence, protection from sexual violence for the women and children who so often are the first targets, the first victims of the violence, is something that takes the highest priority.
Peacekeepers have to take on a more proactive role. We absolutely cannot afford to be only reactive. And threat analysis, as part of a protection of civilians strategy, entails identifying and understanding early warning indicators, such as disappearances, political rhetoric, house raid and searches, detention at camps and checkpoints, or proximity of armed groups to civilian centers, changes in mobility patterns, in particular of women and girls, and social dislocation.
Protecting women and girls from violence, including sexual violence in situations of armed conflict, cannot be addressed without their own participation and empowerment in identifying preventive mechanisms and solutions to their own protection needs, as well as contributing to institutionalizing preventive measures and arrangements.
In order to better prevent and address conflict-related sexual violence, the Security Council has created a very robust structure of mandated arrangements which we as peacekeepers need to address and implement. The first mandated arrangement is implementing and establishing monitoring, analysis and reporting arrangements on conflict-related sexual violence. Secondly, in order to better prevent, we need to ensure that we work in close collaboration with our protection of civilians colleagues and feed into all the prevention and protection activities established by the mission. This means, for example, identifying early warning indicators relevant to conflict-related sexual violence. Thirdly, we need to enter into a dialogue for commitments with parties to the conflict, be they armed groups or governmental actors. This entails ensuring that they institutionalize prevention arrangements such as including conflict-related sexual violence through codes of conduct and training their personnel on the prohibition of committing sexual violence, as well as ensuring there is accountability for incidents of sexual violence when they do occur. We also need to address the whole issue of capacity building of our mission personnel, military, police and civilians, to effectively prevent proactively conflict-related sexual violence incidents from taking place, as well as responding to them when they do take place. And we also need to deploy dedicated capacity into peacekeeping operations addressing conflict-related sexual violence through women protection advisors who address conflict-related sexual violence against women, girls, boys and men.
The threat of sexual violence must be integrated into the operational planning process from the very start of our work on protecting civilians.
Our actions start in the preparation of the force, even during the pre-deployment training. Here, We have we renovate all the points, we stress all the points again to the troops. They go to the fields very conscious that how important is the role of the military spread in more than 80 bases in order to help the civilians, to help the local administration, to help the community to not have sexual violence.
Few perpetrators have been tried for crimes of sexual violence before international and regional tribunals. To end the crime of sexual violence, we must fight for justice.
Perpetrators must be brought to justice, but this can only happen through advocacy and leverage at the political level. Support for police, justice, and corrections capacity building is critical to reestablishing a basic, functioning criminal justice chain. And this has to be done from day one of any UN intervention, and this is primarily a national responsibility. Also, without the rule of law in place, perpetrators cannot be held accountable for their actions in national courts of law.
The mandate of UN police is diverse, varying from mission to mission. One of its main functions is to take on an advisory and mentorship role with host state police and other law enforcement entities to support the development of an accountable and professional police service. Protection of civilians, including from sexual and gender-based violence, is a core duty of police peacekeepers.
Looking to the future, we need to think about how peace operations can further strengthen the rule of law, including policing, improve the protection of civilians, promote gender equality, uphold human rights, and much, much more. All of these contribute to peace sustainability, stabilization, and recovery. Together, we can support the eradication of conflict-related sexual violence, which simply cannot be accepted as a regular cost of conflict.
My message along the same lines is, first, do everything you can to put an end to the violence and to bring back the hope in the mind of those people, especially the younger ones who quite often have never known anything else but violence and threats to their persons. And of course, behave impeccably. That is a necessity.